I'm Dr. Lisa Toppin. Welcome. This is Inputs to Action, and I'm excited for this conversation today. We are talking to Maggie Anderson. Maggie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me here.
I'm just, the audience cannot appreciate how excited I am to talk with you because I have been, I'm going to say, following you, a devotee of yours for 10 years now. I think it has been. Well, maybe not fully 10, but your work has been at least for 10 in terms of what you've been talking about. And when I heard you, I knew that you were doing and leading something special. So it's particularly important that and special that I get to have you here. So let's ground the audience in what you've done. So Maggie is an author. She is a speaker. She is a lawyer. She is an activist. She's a lot, and she's a mom of two beautiful girls and a wife.
Yes.
So she's got a lot of hats. But let's talk now about your work, particularly as an activist. So you came up with this idea for the empowerment experiment. So take us back to that.
Sure.
Through it a little bit.
So you're right. I do wear many hats, and this activism hat has become my life, and this is my new permanent hat. I will die an activist. But before that, I was living what you'd call that bougie, Black-ish life. Mm-hmm. I was blessed to be able to leverage many corporate and academic credentials and accolades. I do have my Juris Doctor from University of Chicago, where I had the honor of being taught and mentored by our President Barack Obama while I was there. I then, after law school, I went on to business school to earn my MBA, also from the University of Chicago. I went to undergraduate at Emory University, where I earned my degree in political science. And while I was at Emory, I had the honor of serving as a congressional aide to my friend, our late great hero, Congressman John Lewis. So woven into all of my wonderful educational experiences, opportunities, I've been able to work with and be close to some of our most iconic political leaders, rights activists, social community organizers in John Lewis and Barack Obama. And then after business school, I went straight to corporate, and I worked as a corporate strategy executive at McDonald's Corporation under the first and only Black CEO of the most iconic brand in the world, McDonald's, Don Thompson. So I had these wonderful opportunities with these wonderful leaders in politics, in law, in government, in business. And I was able to leverage all of that. And I met my wonderful husband, John Anderson, who was also a corporate nerd. He went to Harvard for undergrad and had his degree in math and economics, minored in Latin. Yes, that's a nerd. And then he went on to business school and got his MBA from Kellogg. We actually met and fell in love while we were both in graduate school here in Chicago. I was getting my law degree and he was getting his business degree. So here we are, young and in love, enjoying our bougie Black-ish life, both working for big corporations, married, just had two little girls back to back, and living in a suburb of Chicago. And as we are enjoying this life, we started to realize that we had not done enough to give back to our community, to redeem the struggle and the sacrifice and the blood and the brilliance of our ancestors, who without them, we would not be where we were. We felt like we owed them, and we felt like we weren't doing enough to redeem that love and sacrifice that they gave us by just voting Black, churching Black, loving Black, obviously, being excited when a Black coach made it to the Super Bowl, or getting excited when a Black woman was nominated for an Oscar, and living well and acting right. That wasn't enough. We should be doing more than that. And we kept having these conversations, like many folks in our station have. Once you've been blessed, you start thinking about how you're supposed to give back to your community. You start thinking about serving others. And we had that conversation often, just like so many other people do. And one of those conversations was during an anniversary dinner. This was actually before our daughters were born. And we're celebrating our anniversary. We chose to celebrate at a beautiful restaurant, a Magnificent Mile in Chicago, very expensive place. We spent over $500 on this wonderful dinner. And over dinner, we were talking about the problems in our Black community and what we can do. So we talked about mentoring kids, and we talked about donating to more organizations. We talked about doing more in politics and volunteering for candidates who can represent our causes. And then we paid the bill, the $500 bill. And that's when it hit me, Dr. Lisa, that everything we were talking about, which was right, we need to mentor, we need to give back, we need to, we are leaders in our church ministry. We were doing all the right stuff except buying Black. As proud as we were, as in love as we were, as a proud Black family, we weren't doing anything to demonstrate that love and that pride and that success economically. So here we are, anniversary dinner, check came, it hit us. So we start talking about what are we doing to show our love, pride, and solidarity for our Black people, our Black community economically. We realized, we did that personal assessment, nothing. We could not name 5 Black-owned businesses that we had supported. We could not think about or really testify about anything we had done to fight for economic justice and equality and empowerment in our community. No organizations or anything like that. We could name a leader that we should follow and support that was really pushing economic solidarity in our community, really lifting up the rights of our local business owners and really demanding more from corporate America and the government in terms of supporting Black-owned businesses. It was empty slate. So my husband was, I'm going to tell you, sister, a little tired of this conversation. He was ready to take the anniversary dinner to the next phase and have a romantic evening.
Sure.
But I was all fired up.
Right.
We are hypocrites. We're not doing anything. And our people are suffering. And what are we going to do about this? How can we say that we're successful Black people and we haven't fulfilled our time to 10th responsibility? He's like, yeah, baby, that's good. That's good. We'll do something. We'll do something. We'll find an organization to give to us. Like, no, that's not enough. We need to make a personal commitment. So that is how the empowerment experiment was born. My husband. So this is what he said. Okay, baby. All next week, we're just going to buy Black. How about that? You promise, sweetie? Yes. And that's
right. He's like, I'm trying to make a left turn here on this evening. What?
That's how I was thinking about Dr. King and the people and the children who are suffering in the streets and how our Black businesses are slighted every day. I was thinking about all of that, but my husband was thinking about other things. Right. But the bottom line is our love brought us to the empowerment experiment. So, of course, nothing happened that next week. Nothing happened that next month, that next year. We went on with our bougie Black-ish life, working for our big corporations, doing nothing to fight for economic empowerment in our community. We had our beautiful babies. We moved to our big house. And then in 2007, 2008, my mentor and professor, Barack Obama, decided to run for president. John knew Barack from back at Harvard. They used to hoop together. And so this was huge for us, not just as Black people. It's just that this is Barack. This was Barry. He would ride his bike to school. This was my homie. You know, we would our tiny Black Law Student Association was me, Barack, my best friends, the 3 other Black students at University of Chicago. We were friends, and here he was actually running for president. So we were just so excited, so inspired by that. So we started talking about this whole deal again about buying Black for a week. And I wrote it out. So I at this point, I have my JD now, I have my MBA, And I put all those smarts and those experiences and all the things I'd learned from working for John Lewis, and I wrote out this treatise called The Empowerment Experiment. It was 10 pages long, and it laid out this idea of a case study where we would be the guinea pigs, where we would make a pledge to only support Black-owned businesses, not just for a week, for an entire year. We would save our receipts. We would document our journey. How long did it take us to find a grocery store? How many grocery stores did we find in our community? My daughter needs new shoes. Where could we find shoes made from a Black company? Or was there a Black shoe store? All these things we would document. We would make this pledge public. We would issue press releases and see if the mainstream press and Black press would cover this journey and really help us with our mission, which was to expose economic inequality, defy negative stereotypes about Black-owned businesses, and really inject this conversation that we have amongst ourselves about buying Black, about not having Black-owned businesses in our community anymore, about racism in race and economy, racism in corporate America, how we don't have representation on the boards and there's no business diversity, all these things that we talk about at our conferences, at dinner, over drinks, really inject that conversation into the mainstream. So we said, if we're really going to do something with this, we need to be public about this and really push it into the media. So we issued the press release, we built a website, and we we reached out to leaders that we knew from business school, from politics, and told them about our story. And everyone was excited about this idea of this happening. They really thought this could be a huge thing, the empowerment experiment, and all of these wonderful goals we had to help Black-owned businesses, to get people talking about buying Black, and to honestly inspire a new movement for our people, and really inspire activism for buying Black, not just talking about it, just activism, excitement, and even a little anger, to push all that out there, to get Black folks public and passionate about specifically buying Black, not supporting minorities,
right?
Not helping the urban community, buying Black.
Yeah,
going to Black-owned businesses because we're Black, and because Black businesses have been slighted all this time, and the Black community is suffering from economic crises like unemployment, poverty, those kind of things. We needed to push those things specifically and publicly. So we wanted to do all that, and that's why we created the Empowerment Experiment. We put all of this work and love into it. But the reason we did it, Lisa, and this is the last I'll tell you about all the things that came together. So it was the love, our educational history, our backgrounds, our anniversary, our reaching out to all of our friends and leaders who supported us in the beginning, our issuing that press release, our building the website, our getting John's partners and friends at Kellogg to actually agree to do this study and put the beautiful elite Kellogg name behind it. But what really I wrote the treatise, same time Barack is running for president. My mother, my best friend, everything I am, I owe to her. Luisa Maria Palacios, my Cuban mother, who taught us that our being Cuban and our speaking Spanish didn't make us any less Black or not Black, despite what everyone else told me. It just meant that we got dropped off a little earlier in that triangle, where racist Spaniards were abusing and exploiting our brothers and sisters, my ancestors in Cuba, to shuck sugarcane. Racist Brits were exploiting my brothers and sisters here in America by picking cotton. Same thing, different place. Different place. So that was my mother. That was the spirit of my mother. As yellow as she was, she taught me that I am Black and Black first. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer 1 month before we were going to launch the Empowerment Experiment. All these plans, all that history, everything was set. And my mother was about to die. And that was it. I said, we're not doing this crazy thing now. I gotta be with Mima. I'm her only daughter. I gotta take care of her. I gotta be with my mom. They gave her 3 months to live. And Mima said to me, my mother, a Cuban farm girl, worked as a factory worker her whole time here in the States, didn't even have a high school education, said to me, Mija, my daughter, I've always been proud of you. I know, but I never understood any of those things you did. I couldn't tell you one thing you did as a corporate strategy person. I couldn't tell you what you did as a congressional aide. I don't know what John does. I don't understand any of that stuff. This stuff you're talking about now, about I Am Black, about fighting for poor Black people, about exposing injustice, about putting your life on the line and doing it in public with your family, as a Black family, this I understand.
Yes.
This is the most important thing you could ever do. More important than any degree, any corporate title, any salary, any station in life, any house you got or cars you got. This is the most important thing. In her words, basically, this is how I would finally make her truly proud.
Wow.
That is why I conceived and conducted the empowerment experiment.
Yeah. There are a couple of things. Go ahead. No. You finish that last point. I made a couple of.
I just wanted to just give my last testimony about my mom. So they gave her 3 months to live. She lived 14 months with pancreatic cancer, just long enough to see our year through. So she did pass on, seeing me do the most important thing that I would ever do. She died very proud that her daughter was not just a corporate cog, not just a corporate strategy manager, a lawyer, that her daughter, that she had raised a warrior, a soldier, a revolutionary. And it took her passing and my taking the stand for me to recognize who I actually am and why I'm actually here. It was not to help McDonald's. It was not even to help John Lewis. It was not to make a bunch of money at a big corporation. It was to fight for Black people. It's to fight for economic justice and to really push this specific message of buying Black. She had to pass for me to recognize who I am. And now I just try to honor her every day by making this my life and my fight.
Yes. Well, you have been, as I say, you've been fighting and talking and speaking and inspiring so many of us for a bit now. But two things that you just said, and I want to point out. One, the fact that you conceived the empowerment experiment, on a night of an anniversary.
Yes.
But that it went away. Yes. And I think that that's an important piece to pull out, because so many of us now, on the heels of the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Rayshard Brooks, we're all sort of finding a new space around our activism, right? So we got a whole bunch of new activists. And what's important, I think, to point out is, at first, you might fumble a bit.
Yes.
It's not going to be perfect out of the gate, but don't quit, right? Look for your second and your third and your fourth entries into this space. The other thing that we can maybe talk about this a little bit. You kind of alluded to it, but when you and I first started talking, I want to say that's probably 2015, maybe 16. We talked about that whole perception of Black business and how, and I remember you're talking about this, how we're very quick to dismiss. Yeah. So as soon as the Black business doesn't meet the A1 top standard, you're like, okay, you're fired. Right. Let me go back to, and we don't have the same reaction and or standard for our white counterparts when we think of business. Sometimes they fail us, and we give second and third chances, or we give excuses, or we continue to do business there, and we don't think about the lopsidedness in our own standard around how we see business. Have you seen that change at all?
I can't say that I've seen enough change. So I will honor and I'm blessed that there is this new energy and excitement and interest in showing economic solidarity and standing up for our community, and doing so by buying Black. I'm inspired by that. I've seen it a few times though,
Yes.
and it's the staying power.
Yeah.
And I think we definitely need to get back to that. But the other piece I want to talk to too about the negative perceptions about Black-owned businesses and how we use that as an excuse to be complacent.
Mm-hmm.
So it stems from, and this, I'll give you that perfect storm that led to the demise of our Black-owned businesses. And because we used to have a rich and powerful history of Black-owned businesses representing every industry, defying all the odds, being successful, sustaining our community. But right now, and it's embedded in our psyche, especially folks in our station that have been able to make it educationally, professionally, and have a little money in our pockets, that it's an honor to be able to engage majority-owned businesses, mainstream corporations, white-owned businesses, European brands. It's a burden to buy Black.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
So if we start from there, like, let me just, okay, we'll get a Black caterer for the family reunion. If you start from there,
right,
you're expecting failure. You feel like the business, the organization, or the professional owes you something, and if they don't meet up to that expectation in every perfect way, you are pouncing at the opportunity to not do it again and to dismiss and abuse that business or professional. Where since it's such an honor to be able to buy Hennessy or buy a L'Oreal brand instead of a Black brand for hair care or whatever, since it's such an honor, they're doing you a favor by letting you buy from them. And this is why I have money, so that I can buy Hennessy. So Hennessy has no duty to you. Right. All you have to do is just be there. You don't ask any questions. You don't make any demands. You don't investigate. You don't think about whether Hennessy is doing anything for your people or anything. You're just saying, thank you, Hennessy, take my money.
Right.
Because you start from a different vantage point.
That's right.
That's a huge, huge problem for us. We have a sense of pride when it comes to our churches. Can't nobody dog out our churches. Right. Can't dog out our children. But we don't have that pride when it comes to our businesses. And it took them knocking us down so much, that perpetual knee on our necks, for us to start scrapping for something that can show how proud we are, how unified we are, that we don't need them. Right. And that's now us starting to look to our businesses and starting to see them in a more suspicious, let's say, light, which is good, because we have to be more conscious about where our money goes, where our vote goes. So that's this energy that we have now, but we're still so ridiculously far behind in everything. And our doing these one-day blackouts is not sustained and is not making any kind of point at all. If you just take one day to say, okay, I'm not going to do what I do every day, that's not taking a stand. Right. You're taking a day off. Right. That's what that is. You taking a day off. You are not doing anything for anyone. So we need the energy, this consciousness, this solidarity to be sustained. Yeah. And I've seen it in my life. I mean, it happened to me. Once you start doing it, it gets good. You start challenging yourself. Yeah. You know my stories. I say, you know, I only go to Black-owned hotels. I'm telling you, I promise you, you will sleep better. Food just tastes better. Right. My glasses. Right. Yes, I'm supposed to see better because of the prescription, but I really do believe that I see better out of these glasses because I used a black optometrist and I bought a black designer.
Right.
I'm telling you, once you do it and then you just start challenging yourself, you say, you know what? I need some new blinds. I wonder if there's a black company that can put these blinds up, and it starts feeling better, and you start challenging your friends, and it's fun, like losing weight or something like a diet. You just want to push yourself. But you have to get started.
You can look at it. Yeah.
You can't start from it can't be done, and you can't focus on what we don't have. I don't have a black-owned grocery store. Right. So that doesn't mean, oh, well, how am I going to, since I can't buy food from a black-owned grocery store, I guess I can't buy black.
Right.
You can't work from that perspective.
And
the perspective should be, they killed that man.
Right.
Racism killed that man.
Right.
Racism exists because of the systems, stereotypes, and structures that we enable with our money and our vote. I'm going to vote.
Right.
I'm going to vote the right way.
Yep.
I got to spend money.
Yep.
Spend our money the right way.
Yeah.
That's the way. You can't look at it from, are there good services? Are there bad services? What we have, what we don't have. It's if I'm going to fight racism, I have to do these things. I have to vote and I have to buy black.
Yep. That's it. Oh, I love it. So let's, I just paying attention. There's so much we could cover, but I want to make sure we talk about your newest challenge, which is the hair care challenge. And I think it's the right place to start. You're imploring us, pushing us to take back the hair care industry that we started. So talk a little bit about that. And what you're asking us to do. I've taken the challenge, but let's
Yes, you have, and I love you for that. So this was after George Floyd, and just like you crying about it, wanting to throw things and just couldn't sleep. And one of those nights, I woke up, and I promise you, God put the Black-owned hair care challenge into my heart. I have been fighting for Black hair care from the beginning. So when I preach and teach self-help economics, I talk about our beautiful Black business history. I talk about how we would not have a civil rights movement had it not been for those Black-owned businesses. We had Black hotel chains, Black department store chains. Every industry and market represented Black. If you needed a hardware store, you could find a Black-owned hardware store. If you needed a realtor, a lawyer, an accountant, all Black. We had Black Wall Streets all over the country, self-sustained neighborhoods, prosperous neighborhoods. Our kids could go to the corner every day and see someone who looks like them and looks out for them. They want a piece of candy, they go to the Black candy guy. If they want the newspaper, they go to the Black newspaper stand. This is what Black people did. We had strong Black businesses. We recycled our dollar. We demonstrated economic solidarity. And those businesses, especially the Black hair care brands, fought for us in the civil rights movement. Madam C.J. Walker and all of those Black women that she empowered by enabling them to be entrepreneurs themselves, they're the ones who funded the NAACP. They're the ones who put the NAACP. So when think about all those times people had to get bailed out of jail, the times we had to pay for our businesses and our homes to be protected. Those guys standing outside, we had to pay them. Think about just the food and the hotels and the gas and all of those things they needed to just make sure that the movement kept going. All those folks who lost their jobs and they had to pay for them to help them keep their families afloat. All of that money came from Black-owned businesses, and especially Black hair care. The Black hair care, of course, industry was started to address our particular hair care needs, started by Black women, and they supported our community, they supported our banks, they supported our movement. So it's not just special because it's culturally relevant, it's special because they have always propelled us in terms of social justice, in terms of political power. The Black hair care industry, those companies, mostly women, fought for the Black community. we lost not just the Black hair care, we lost those hotels, those banks, and all of that came after integration, that perfect storm where as we fought for political rights, after we got the bus boycott with integration, after we got Brown versus Board of Education, the Voting Rights Act, as we achieved more politically and within the civil rights movement, we started to lose our economic and business victories. With every civil rights victory, they came at the expense of our economic and business victories. Our Dr. King saw that, and on the day before he died, he said that he shifted in that speech, in that mountaintop speech, and told us specifically that we need to support Black institutions. He said, I want a bank-in movement, not just a sit-in movement, making it very clear it's not enough to sit in. We have to also buy Black. He said, he told us to put money into Black-owned banks. He said, put your money there. He was very clear. They shot him.
Yep.
He's dead.
Yep.
And we didn't abide by his dying wish.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. Since that speech, there has been nothing like that. There's been no other politician with that much, no other leader with that much power and voice to stand up and say, we've got to support Black institutions. Yeah. We want a bank-in movement. Put your money there. Nothing like that has happened since.
Well, we've got you now, and you're telling us now. You're telling us, and I'm paying attention to our time, because
we have to do the Black-owned hair care challenge. So I thought about how, I've been doing this for over 10 years. Our Black year was actually technically 2009, so we finished it just over 10 years ago. And I always, when I give my talks and I give my interviews and I defend buying Black, I talk about that rich Black business history. I talk about especially hair care, and I talk about in modern day economic injustice. I talk about how the corporate America has basically stolen our culturally relevant brands. So Black entertainment and Black hair, these are things that are Black, made for Black people, made by Black people, have been co-opted by mainstream organizations. We didn't invent banking. We have Black-owned banks and they're gone, but we didn't invent that. We invented Black music and we invented Black hair. So we are entitled to have the greater ownership stake in those industries, and we are entitled to control and dominate those industries.
And so Maggie, with that point, because I want to make sure that we hit this before we close here.
Okay, sorry about that.
You are asking us to buy Black, go to a Black-owned hair care place and buy Black hair care products. They've got, and I did it. So you got to go in, you got to ask a question.
So this is what I want you to do.
Right.
Black-owned hair care challenge.
Before you go into this, because this is the big close, right?
Okay, this is close.
Inputs to action. What we always do is we close out our show is you've given us so much rich history and so much good fodder and understanding of how we got to this point. So what specifically are you asking us to go do? And so we got the input. Now this is the action point. What do you want us to do?
Right. I am asking you to accept the challenge. The Black-owned hair care challenge is asking you to make a public commitment to buy all of your hair care products from Black-owned brands and Black-owned beauty supply stores. We have to buy from Black-owned brands and Black-owned beauty supply stores. I've started the Black-owned hair care challenge.com website. On that website, you will get specific instructions on how to make that public challenge. We are asking that you tape yourself, actually either throwing out your old products and proving that you bought a product from a Black-owned brand or a Black-owned beauty supply store. You can tape yourself actually doing it, tape a receipt, but tape that, make that video, take that picture, post it on social media, and tag Black Owned Hair Care Challenge, hashtag Black Owned Hair Care Challenge. Just like the cinnamon challenge, just like the ice bucket challenge. Right. So we want this, we want this to become viral. We want to see little kids, grandmas, grandpas, churches, white folks, Asian folks, rich folks, poor folks, just saying, I accept the Black Owned Hair Care Challenge. That's all you have to do.
That's all you got to do.
To the website, and the website will tell you which brands are not Black owned, like Dark and Lovely, Dark and Natural.
Well, that's why I mentioned asking the owner to direct when you get to the store.
Yes. But if you come to the website, I have hundreds of brands there for you, and I will tell you which brands, which may look Black and market themselves as Black owned, are not actually.
And that's an important point. That's an important point. Maggie, this is terrific. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to leave it there. You're going to see in this post, you're going to see my challenge. I'm challenging you to take the challenge. Maggie, thank you. And that's it for this.
Lisa, love you so much. Thank you for everything.
I love you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. We'll talk again.